Alright guys, I watched The Batman, Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves, and company in this newest and different style of approaching who the Batman is as a character. I was always very excited for this movie when I found out it was going to be Batman in his early years, and in the movie it specified that it is his second year of being Batman, and how he's still discovering who he is. I think this is very important because it definitely shows in the entirety of the movie and in the huge finale that you get, where Batman reanalyzes who he is and what he stands for. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much more. I'm your host Chris, and today we're doing a spoiler-free review of The Batman. So I'm not going to talk about any plot points or any reveals, anything that was given to us in the film today, as it only just came out officially yesterday, and I want to give people a little bit of time before we start talking about all of the spoilery stuff and what we learned from The Batman, but turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on that video or live chat when they go out. But for starters, let's talk about the beginning of the movie. I think something that is very reflected in this film is Matt Reeves' understanding of Batman. It just shows very deeply in this already deep and intense movie, as Batman is a very deep and intense character. We spend a fair amount of time throughout the movie indirectly analyzing Batman's motivation for being Batman, which I think is something always in question, but it was so subtly added in the background of who is Batman, why is Batman, and what is Batman doing, that eventually when the big ending of the movie comes, you're sitting there asking yourself these same questions of the character, not about the character. You're wondering who he is and what does he stand for you, and that's something that Matt Reeves does extremely well. The entire cast, everybody involved, played their roles to perfection. They all appreciated the assignment of the character they had and the mystery behind the detective part of the movie. This movie is 100% a detective cop film where you are going through trying to figure it out for yourself while you're watching Batman and his team trying to figure out what exactly is going on, what are all the answers to these riddles, what are the connecting dots, and eventually, how can we save Gotham? Something I found particularly interesting, and that now that I'm sitting here thinking about the movie that I enjoyed, was Batman wasn't all lone wolf the whole time. Yes, he always does things his way, and he makes that pretty evident as he's talking to Gordon. I'm gonna do things my way, you stay here, because he can't do everything that Batman gets away with because of the status of being a cop versus a vigilante. However, in this movie, a few times he reaches out to Catwoman or Gordon or even some cops to help him out so that he can figure out what exactly it is he needs to do next. I think in a lot of renditions of Batman, he's kind of all stone cold, I do things my way, I don't have a team, I'm alone kind of guy, and I think it's really cool to see him just open to the resources around him, which made him a much more effective Batman. And moving forward, because there will be moving forward, we're actually told we're getting a trilogy of this Matt Reeves Batman, but moving forward we'll be able to see that relationship maybe strained or even stronger in other aspects or times throughout. And that again is something with Batman that you see often, is do the cops love him, do the cops hate him? It's very mixed up very many times. Like there are corrupt cops who don't like Batman, there are good cops who don't like Batman, and vice versa. So again, the subtle inclusion of him willing to work with others, whether it was Catwoman or Gotham's police, I think it was very interesting how evident that was and how much that actually opened doors for him as Batman, as a hero trying to help out Gotham the best he knew how. Another thing I really enjoyed about the movie was Batman's gadgets, Batman's items and tools and different trinkets that he used throughout different fighting scenes or detective work scenes, where he had these items that were unique to his Batman, and the technology and how smooth the technology was able to work for him just to make his life easier. I remember just sitting there and watching it going, wow, this is just kind of nice, this is enjoyable to see. The tech actually represents something that a billionaire would be able to do, something that would be realistic, something that isn't, oh my gosh, look at this tank, but rather, look at this car that he's transformed into the Batmobile, or look at this cave that he's created in old family property and these materials that he's using and the up-to-date tech. It was really cool to see that, and I think a big iconic thing about Batman is his gadgets, whether it's the Batarang or the shark repellent from the early days, all the way to in this film where we get some really cool high-tech gear that makes Batman that much more Batman-ear. And then of course, how can we forget just the story? The story was one of just excellence. It was very easy to follow, it wasn't unnecessarily complicated, but it did leave you guessing. And that's something I think going into this film I was worried about, that it was going to just be this really deep Inception type, complex, hard to follow. But no, everybody that I watched it with and people who have watched it before me have all said, yeah, it was really easy to follow. It was light work as far as understanding where one clue leads to the next, who are they talking to and why. It flowed extremely well. I would have preferred a few more action sequences. It wasn't jam-packed with action as maybe the trailers had explained or tried to make us feel like was going to happen. You know, you saw in the trailers the original I Am Vengeance scene where he's just beating the crap out of a clown-looking dude. That wasn't as evident in the movie. It was more of a story. Follow the clues, follow the riddles, figure it out, find the bad guy, capture the bad guy kind of thing, where there were some really awesome, incredible action sequences. And when there were action sequences, they were top notch. But I would have liked a little bit more because, you know, Batman's hand-to-hand combat fighting style is something that he's iconically known for, and I missed out on that just a little bit. Furthermore, I loved the movie. However, as I've mentioned, there were a lot of subtlety in the details about whether his teammates were or how the character was motivated. You know, throughout this entire review, I've talked about those subtleties, and I really did appreciate them, but at times I do feel like the movie was being a little bit too subtle, a little bit too quiet, whereas in other renditions of Batman, Batman's a little bit more full on, a little bit more in your face. I do feel that here it was more of a subtle approach, which was both a huge win and definitely a very minor inconvenience. Trying to figure it out and follow what his emotions were, there definitely seemed at times to be some emotionless gazes that I would have probably liked to see less of. I would have liked to see that raw emotion show. But this Batman is different than any Batman we have ever seen before, which in part is what made him so exciting to watch. With that being said, this was definitely one of my favorite Batman movies of all time. Did it quite pass my top favorite of The Dark Knight? It's unclear at this point, but I would definitely put it in top 3 favorite Batman movies of all time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The music was incredible, the cinematography was incredible, the storytelling and pattern of story was awesome, the acting from everybody involved in major roles was spot on, and the overall portrayal of who Batman is was exciting to see. I'm excited for more. They teased more in the movie, and we will be getting some awesome new villains down the road. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you haven't seen the movie, guys, beware, there will be spoilers down there. I can almost guarantee it. So keep your eyes peeled, and I'll see you guys later for the spoiler review or live chat that we're going to be doing here as well. So don't forget to subscribe and turn that notification bell on so you don't miss out. Guys, I'll see you in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.